I'm back.
Did you miss me?
It's been about 6 weeks since I last posted a video, but I have a very good excuse as I was approximately 12,000 miles away from my PC on a huge adventure in New Zealand. First off, I attended a wedding, then I borrowed a camper van and toured the South Island with my wife. We explored epic landscapes, went sea kayaking, visited the world's largest glowworm colony, went rafting in caves and rivers. We caught a helicopter ride up a glacier to explore an icy landscape and climb through ever-changing ice caves. We took a tiny plane over the Southern Alps to catch a cruise down a fjord, and we went up the side of a mountain in a four-wheel drive to have a picnic surrounded by the incredibly picturesque and blue waters of Lake Wanaka. Not only that, we also saw the clearest night skies we've ever seen and just generally took a month off to explore this incredible country. But now I'm back, I'm refreshed, and I've got some epic plans for this world. So recently we've been building up our industrial area, automating lots of the ores and things. We've even shoved in a giant storage system over here, which at the moment is sorting some stuff, but we've got a lot of organization to do. And that's not something I'm going to be doing today. That is certainly not the job I want to do after 6 weeks away from Minecraft. What we are going to do though is head back over to the theme park. So we're going to take this train all the way back and then we're going to work out the next steps. So while I was away traveling, I was giving it some thoughts, and I think it's definitely about time we put a brand new ride in this theme park. And there is one thing we mentioned quite a while ago that I never actually got round to doing. And that involves us going right through the theme park entrance here and out the other side, because we're going to go over to the fantasy area of the park. So over here next to our log flume, I think what I want to do is choose a location up on the hill here somewhere, and this is where we're going to build the new ride. And if you've been following the series since the start, you may remember quite early on, in fact when we were building this bit over here, I did mention making a wizard tower to hide our phantom farm in, and potentially turning it into a drop tower. And I think that's exactly what we're going to do today. I mean, I don't know how far we're going to get, but we're certainly going to make a start. But I think what I want to do is put this tower over the back here somewhere, so that when you're walking into the fantasy area over this side, you can kind of see it poking out among the trees. I think that'll look quite good. But before we can get to actually designing the wizard tower and figuring out how all of that's going to work and how we're actually going to make that part into the ride, I need to actually figure out the ride system. And if I'm doing a drop tower, I have been giving this some thought of different ways we could do it, such as going in minecarts and then pulling out the floor from below so that the player then drops down. But I think I want to have a little bit more control over the sequence of it. And with that in mind, I think what we're going to do is play around with a sequence gear shift, some gantry shafts, and see what we can come up with. So first up, let's pick a location. So we're going to have a bridge going across here, and I kind of want the tower to be visible maybe just over this way here behind the trees. So if we were to build it around here somewhere maybe. And I think what I'll do is just stick in a great big tower of industrial iron blocks here so we can see where it's going to be. And that will help us work out how tall it needs to be and so on as well. It's been ages since we've been over in this side of the park. It's really nice to see it again, if I'm honest. So if we were to have the wizard tower there as you're walking down this path, yeah, poking through the trees, I think that's going to look quite nice. All right, so location-wise, I think that's going to work. But before we start messing around with a mechanism and trying to work out how this is going to fit together, I think I need to clear a bit of space. So, let's do some shopping. Cleared a bit of space so we can try and work something out, and I've also gathered lots of bits that I think we may or may not need. I don't really know yet, to be honest. So the first thing I'm going to do is get in a gantry shaft, and we kind of want to make sure that that's going up, not down, so let's just do that. We'll make that as tall as we need to later. And what I want to try and do is use a sequence gear shift to make it basically go up slowly and then drop quickly and then maybe bounce and go up and down a little bit more, potentially. So we'll start by going 20 meters up and then kind of sit at the top for a little bit, I guess. Maybe for 3 seconds. Then we're going to move this 15 meters down at double speed. Back up 10 meters at double speed. And then, is that all we can we only do 6? Can I not do any more? Aha, okay. That's going to make things interesting, but let's just see if we can get this to work first. So I just need this to come all the way back down to the bottom, which should be 15 meters. So in theory, that should go up, sit and wait, and then it should go down, up, down. But it would help if I was to put a gantry carriage on there so we can actually see what it's doing. And we're also going to need some form of power. So let's quickly do this. Set that to 128 so that when it goes double speed, it will go 256. That should work out nicely. And now we'll just stick a water wheel in, and I'm hoping that's going to be enough power. So let's press this. And, okay, we're going in the wrong direction, so what I actually need to do is flip all of these directions. Now let's give that another go, so it should go up 20 meters. Stop for 3 seconds. Fly down, bounce back up, and then come all the way down to the bottom. Okay, cool. So that works. But it's a very short ride because we're limited on the sequences. So I wonder, can we adjust this so we can get more than one sequence shifter thing in? That gonna work? Let me try something out here. So if I stick a vertical gear shift in there and then put in just 2 chain drives, I guess we'll use that for the test. And then if I have 2 different things here, I think what I'm gonna need to do is maybe adjust this slightly so I can put the gear shifts pointing upwards and then 2 more of those in. So that should transfer the power through. So now the question is, can I power these in sequence? So let's just set this one up. Right, so I'll set these up with 2 different sequences, and then I'll put these on a time delay. So this one should fire 10 seconds after this one, which hopefully gives this one enough time to perform all of its actions, and we should be able to get a longer sequence. Let's see what happens. Well, I think I've got it going the wrong way again, so not a good start. But it is doing that, and don't think I left that sequence long enough. So first up, let's just change the direction on this. Right, let's try that again. So first off, it goes up, pauses, comes down, bounces, and it goes back up again. So it is now on the second sequence, pauses, comes all the way down. Okay, so we can extend the sequence. This is good. Okay, so my little test sequencer here seems to work. Obviously, all the timings and everything down here will change when this goes all the way to the top and then comes all the way back down again, because it's going to be a much bigger pole. But as a proof of concept, it looks like this is going to work just fine. So now I guess my next question is, how are we going to hide this? I do want to build a wizard tower of some kind around it. I think that's going to work. And then we're going to need some kind of a queue system as well over on this side. And then we need to make sure we've got somewhere to place the phantom farm. So we've certainly got our work cut out for us. And something else I want to consider is not having this whole mechanism right here. So I think I'm just going to get rid of this for now. And we're going to bring this all the way down to the floor, because I'm toying with the idea of maybe having it go underground as well. So it looks a certain height when you get on it and go to the top, but it actually goes down a lot further than you expect. I think that could be quite cool. So let's just get rid of this giant tower. We don't need this anymore. And to give myself a bit of freedom when building, I'm going to put in a new ground floor level. So that's going to be here. We're going to raise up all the terrain around it, which means I'm going to need a lot more grass because that's all I had. The new ground level has been set. Now I need to work out the actual shape of this tower. And for that, I need to go gather a whole bunch of resources. I think I know what materials I'm going to use. I just don't know how it's going to turn out yet. Let's go see what we can find. First up, I gathered a whole bunch of diorite from storage, then rode the log flume for a bit to run the tree farm to restock my spruce, oak, and dark oak supplies. I raided storage and made some blue, purple, and magenta terracotta, and gathered various other purple blocks. I grabbed a bunch of glass and some white concrete, then went AFK at the mob farm for a bit just to restock my bone supplies. And we're looking pretty good. I think the last thing I want to do is just check my copycat stuffs. Am I going to need more bits and bobs? Looks like I will. So I'll make a few bits of those, and then we should be good to start this build. Now, first up, let's get the floor level in for the loading platform. Maybe have that 6 blocks up. In fact, we're going to go 7 up, I think. And then we're going to build the ride loading platform here. So ideally, what we want is probably 3 seats on each side, which means it's going to need to be this sort of shape. So if we put some seats in like that, that'll be the platform that goes up and down. So we're going to need plenty of space around the outside for loading. Maybe something about that size could work. And if we wrap a wall around that, I reckon that's going to be a pretty good size for the base. We're going to start off with a bit of framework using some dark oak. Well, it's a start, but we've got a whole lot further to go. Let's frame up a little bit more. There we go. That looks a bit better. I think it's time I start getting some walls in, though, so I can work out how this is actually going to look. For that, we're going to start with diorites. But I don't want to be using just vanilla diorite, so let's go make a few variants. I should really make those backpack upgrades that allow me to swap the workbenches in my backpack, but yeah, I just haven't got around to it yet. We're going to have an admin day at some point. I've got lots of little things I need to do, but that's not going to be today. Right. This one. There we go. Lots of sanded diorite. We're going to get some of these diorite bricks as well, I think. Location-wise, though, I think that tower's going to work out well. It's already looking cool. This is just the beginning. But let's get some walls in. Well, that's some basic progress. Now we have a weird white tower type thing. We will, of course, detail it, get texture on, and make it all look nicey-nicey. I'm thinking we're going to put a balcony in on this sort of lower part here. I think that could look quite nice along that. But for now, I think I want to keep going up. I want to figure out how tall this tower is going to be, because then we can actually figure out the ride mechanism and all the timings and all that sort of stuff. So for now, we're going to keep going upwards. Ow. Now, for this next layer, we're going to switch to bone. There we go. That's the bone layer on. I think that's looking pretty good. I've gone with a bit more of a different shape here, and I've made sure that, of course, the chairlift can still fit up the inside. So there's still plenty of space for the ride to come up the middle. And I'm not sure if that's going to be tall enough for the top yet. Let's have a look from over here. We're just floating around in free cam. So if we were walking in here... yeah, I think putting a top up there, that looked quite nice, actually, framed by the trees. I think that's the height we're going to leave it at. However, I do think I want to put a balcony around here. It's looking a little bit weird. So I wonder, can I land on here? Yep. I think we're going to grab some spruce planks for this. If we do it maybe too wide, then we'll keep things simple and just use oak trapdoors for a handrail. That's better. I think that helps break it up a little bit, but it's looking a little bit thin down here, so I think I might thicken it up a bit. But I don't think it needs much. Maybe just some blocks, then some slabs, then maybe some walls on the side as well. Yeah, that looks much better. So next up, I think I'm going to get this room at the top sorted, because then that's going to help me figure out the roof, which means I can then put some roofs on these bits and make that all look nice. And it'll add a splash of colour as well, which is well needed. It's just a big white tube at the moment. Now let's start off by making it just a little bit wider, and then maybe wider still. Tell you what, let's make a nice little trim. If we stick some spruce trapdoors in, and then we'll build the room on top of this. We now have the start of a room on top, but I think I need to figure out the roof before I go any further. And for that, we're going to be using blue terracotta and probably a whole bunch of copycat stairs. We're going to need more than that. Should be enough to get us started, though. Now, how's this going to work? If we do stairs across that bit, then blocks, and then more stairs, and blocks again. Top, we'll just do something maybe a little bit different. So shape-wise, I think that could work. I think something I want to do is get a trim in here first. We use spruce at the bottom of the building, so I think it makes sense to use spruce here as well. And what we can also do is just put a trim on the edge of this purple bit here. Let's do something a little bit fancier at the top here. Maybe just a little loop like that. Right, how does that look? All right, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I mean, it could do with a bit of texture, but shape-wise, I think that's good. I think that's going to look fantasy enough. Now I've just got to do the other three sides. Short while later, and I've completed the roof. Well, at least most of it. It's still actually got a hole in the top here, but that's absolutely fine. We'll figure out what we're going to do with that later. But now what I want to do is sort out these roofs here. And we've done the top roof in the blue terracotta, which is obviously quite purpley. But what I'm going to do for this one, I think, is just use the purple. Nope, magenta. I mean magenta. Something else I think I want to do here is put in some more walls, just to soften this edge a little bit more. And I think we'll just use spruce again to make this look nice. There we go. I think something like that should do the trick nicely. Let's just sort out the rest of these windows. All the roofs are on, and I've also added in some of the windows while I was up there. I think that really helps. I've gone with blue glass because I think it just really sets off the white. And now this building's got a bit of colour, it's certainly looking a bit better. However, these bits here look a little bit too sharp, these sort of pokey out bits with the wall. So I'm going to try and soften them, and we're going to try and do that with some white stained glass. And I'm hoping that if I just do this, does that work? Yeah, I think it really does. If you look at that side and then compare it to this one with the glass. Yeah, I really like that. Actually worked better than I hoped. So I'm just going to get the rest of this glass in. And then I think after that, I do need to texture this thing. I need to make it look a little bit better. I want to get some leaves and things on it. I also need to work out where the actual entrance is to get onto this floor, which I guess is probably going to be in one of the sides, and then we'll have the exit out the other side. So yes, I guess the next couple of hours is going to be me just making this all look a little bit nicer, and then we can start figuring out the mechanism on the inside and probably even dig out a little bit underground. I want to make this a nice tall drop tower. And I guess the other thing to check is how's it looking from over here? Yeah, that's going to be an amazing view as you come across the bridge. Excellent. Right, let's get to work. Oh, yes, look at that. That's looking awesome. I've added a bit of texture to the build just to break it up a little bit. We've got some darker patches beneath the walkway there and at the bottom. And then I've just also added in a few bricks here and there just to make it look a little bit broken up. And with the bone here, I've used various bone blocks as well as some white concrete. And I think that actually works quite nicely, especially under the top here. I think that works really well. And I've also mixed in a bit of texture on the roofs, both there and on these sort of pinky, purpley, magenta ones as well. And so far, I'll say that's not looking too bad. But what we do need to work out is how to actually get into the thing. And I think it makes sense to have entrances on either side, or an entrance and an exit, I should say. So if we were to have an entrance on this side, and then we're going to need to build some kind of a queue line, and then we'll put an exit over here. And we've got plenty of space on the inside here to put in our drop tower. However, I do think I want to go down a little bit as well. So I'm going to get in here, I guess, and dig a nice big hole. In fact, I think to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to rig up a drill system. We've dug enough holes. We should have loads of drills in here. Yep, look at that. 401. Jeez. It looks like I've got more than enough to cover this floor. Excellent. So let's just add a power supply. Gonna need a rope pulley as well as a few other create bits and bobs. So let's speed up this first. And then we'll put on a rope pulley. I'm gonna need a bunch of chests as well just to store up all the stuff we're about to cut down. We're not going to need anywhere near this many chests, but I'd rather have too many than not enough. And now, in theory, if I just flip this round... Yep, look at that. Wonderful. Can I go faster? I can. Although maybe that was a bit too fast. Oh, geez. What am I doing? Just pull that back up to the top again. Why didn't these ones go? Right, let's try that again, shall we? Okay, it seems to be digging. This is good. I don't know how deep I want it, so I might just take this opportunity to get lots of resources anyway. There we go, that's one big hole, so we've got lots more room for the drop tower now. And with that in mind, I think that's what I'm going to sort out next. The actual ride part of this ride. The first part of that, let's find the middle down here, which I guess is going to be about there. We need to make sure we've got plenty of space down here for the actual mechanism, and then I'm going to stick a floor in. And this floor isn't going to be permanent, it's just showing me where the bottom of the shaft is. So this is as low as the seats are going to come down. The floor is in. Now let's get in some gantry shaft, and let's see how tall this is going to be. All right, so I've got the pole all the way in, and from top to bottom, it's about 75 meters. I'd say that's quite a good drop tower. So this bottom bit here is about 30 meters, so I should be able to get that to go to the right place. I need to remove that block though. That's going to cause a problem. But what we're going to do now is get the control system in, which is going to be based on what we worked out earlier, just on a larger scale so we can have more sequences, maybe 4. So I'm just going to spend a bit of time trying to find the right things that I need, but also once I've got the things I need, such as these, I'm going to get all of this set up, and once I've got it all working, I'll show you what it's doing, how it works, and hopefully we'll even be able to take a quick ride on this thing. All right, I think I've got a ride sequence worked out. I've got 4 in here at the moment. I'm only actually using 3 of them, but this one's here just in case I want to make any adjustments. But timing-wise, I think I've got it all sorted out. So if I press this button and quickly jump into free cam, we can see it immediately drops down through the floor. Not what you expect with a drop tower, so that'll be a surprise for the guests when they first get on. And then it slowly goes all the way back up to the top, so this will take you through the whole tower, the underground bit as well as the above ground. And once it gets to the top, it'll stay here for a few seconds to look at what's going on up here, which is currently nothing. And it does a little fake drop, and then it does a bouncy drop and comes back to the top again. And after a short break, it goes all the way back down to the bottom again. Stays there for a couple of seconds, bounces up a tiny bit, and then shoots back all the way to the very, very top. Just for a split second, and then it immediately drops back down and should hopefully, yep, look at that, settle back where it started. So the riders have quite a sequence there, and sadly I can't make it speed up and slow down and actually sort of mimic kinetics, really. I mean, this is Minecraft, but for what we're working with, I think that's going to work quite nicely. Although to really test it out, we need to actually ride it. So I've just set up a redstone link here so I can activate it from the top. So let's see how we go. And yep, the immediate drop, unexpected. I actually forgot then myself. So yep, that's good. Definitely going to be a surprise, even if you know it's coming, apparently. Then we have the slow journey back to the top. So this will give us a chance to actually look at everything that's going on the inside of the tower. And I do have some plans for that, which hopefully is going to work. Then we'll have a nice sequence at the top here as well. Then we have our fake drop and then the big drop, and it's definitely faster on the way down, and the bounce back up, that's good as well. Then we do another drop, and this one should go all the way to the basement. And then once again, we'll have a bit of time down here to survey the scene, and then fake bounce up, and then this should go all the way back to the top, and then we'll go all the way back down again. So yeah, I think this is going to work quite well. It's a shame we can't get it to go even faster on the way down. But, well, this is the limits that we're working with within Create. We might be able to do some kind of optical illusions, though, to make it seem like it's going faster in places. In particular, going into the basement, I've got a bit of an idea that might work to make it seem like it's going a lot faster than it actually is. Ow, completely missed the ladder there. But with the amount of space we've got, I think we should be able to make it look quite good. But that's enough talk about what we're going to be doing. Let's talk about what we do need to do right now, and that is sort out the rest of this tower. So, we need to get an exit in, which is going to come out of this side here. And I'm thinking just a big sort of sweeping staircase that comes down and joins some land that doesn't exist over here yet might be the way to go forward. And I need to give some thought to what I want to do for the queue line entrance as well, because I want it to be quite heavily themed. So I'm thinking maybe sticking a building on the side here that the visitors go through before they get into the tower, just to kind of set the scene and set the story a little bit for what we're going to have going on the inside, which could work quite nicely. But I've just realized I've gone back to talking about what we are going to do again and not what we're actually doing. So let's sort out some kind of a walkway here. We'll start off with some stairs. Let's just get these in the side of the wall here. And then we'll have a turn right about here. Oh, hello. I see ya. Maybe I should have a quick nap. Then we'll just continue those stairs all the way down. And I think it makes sense for me just to block these in with some more of the diorite. Then we'll top that with some of this oak fence. No, maybe not that one. This one? Yeah, that looks better. And we'll just mix in a little bit of the normal diorite down the bottom here as well. Make it look a little bit like the tower. All right, I think that'll do the trick nicely. And from out the front, that looks good as well. Now, I don't think I fancy tackling the entrance just now in today's episode. I'm still very jet-lagged from my trip after all. But I do need to sort out the terrain around here. So, now we know how far the build's coming over on this side. I can at least make a start on that. And maybe even put in the path that gets it connected up to the main part of the park. Let's just empty all this back into my bag. Grab some grass and dirt. And get to landscaping. And we'll start just by expanding this out a little bit further. Then I'm going to use some stone to build up the sides as well. Well, I'm definitely going to need to go get more. I don't have much on me at all. But I reckon if I build around the edges like that, we could end up with quite a nice sort of cliff edge here, I guess. And then we'll just carve some stairs into it to get down to the main path. At least that's my current plan. We'll just have to see how that works out. I'll bring you back in once we've got something a bit more to look at. Well, I think it worked quite well, and we've got plenty more to look at. So this is the main path that goes around the back of the log flume and will eventually lead up to all the other things we're doing over this side. But we've now got a little side path that goes off and goes up to our tower here. So I've managed to actually just keep the same style of path going all the way up. I think that's worked quite nicely. And then once you get up here, this is going to go off to the queue line. There'll be like a big entrance sign here. And we'll have to put something up that shows that this is the exit. I mean, I was considering using the sort of one-way signs we've got, but I don't think they're really going to fit with the theming. So instead of doing that, we'll probably just write some signs. But if I jump into free cam and we get a better look at this, you can see how these sort of cliffsiders come along. Eventually, we're probably also going to have the path running along the front of this so it can go off to other areas of the park. But over here, I've not bothered finishing it off yet because I don't know how much space we're going to need to do the queue line. Probably more than I've left at the moment, especially considering the scale of the tower. I think if we were to put just a small building here, it's going to look very weird. But so far, I'm very pleased with how this has all been coming along. Got the tower in, we've got the ride mechanism working, and we've even done a little bit of landscaping and connected it to the main path. Not bad considering I have absolutely no idea what day or time it is. But sadly, that is where I'm going to have to wrap up this video because I did want to try and get one out for you a few days after getting back. It's just been too long, and despite the jet lag, I was excited to build. But it is great to be back. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and in the next one, we'll get this all themed up and looking wonderful. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye now.